Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Today we're taking a look at Koch Chemie, a relatively new product, P601, one cut and finish. This is an all-in-one single stage product with a sealant built in, as opposed to a wax with some of their other P designated products which historically use waxes. So this one uses something, a hydrophobic sealant. This product is rated 6 at cut and claims it can take up to 2,000 sanding marks. Your technique will have an impact on that, and what pads you're using, machine choice and all that sort of stuff. And a gloss rating of 8 up onto the Koch scale, which I believe ends at 10. They have products which go up to 9.5 on gloss, so it gives you an idea. It's not quite as glossy as their finishing products, and not quite as heavy cutting as their pure abrasive heavy cut line. So that's the first thing. We understand now what the product is. Now let's talk about the existing stuff. Now Koch Chemie is quite easy to understand in terms of their pure abrasives. You have H9. If you can, these are the old versions of the product, can make it really confusing. The new products, H9, okay, they're heavy cut, with a little red bit on it. F6, their mid-range one, which is like the P6 but without the sealant. They're all pure abrasives. And M3, their finishing polish. So big heavy hammer for big major defect removal. Mid-cut product for either single staging or cutting on softer paintworks. M3 for dehologramming buffer trousers, stuff like that. Finishing out paintwork, or just polishing your paint and glossing it all up, generally, finishing polish. So that's your H for heavy cut, F for fine cut, M for micro fine cut. That's what those numbers stand for. The number after the letter stands for the level of cut. So 9 maximum cut, you get the idea, you know, all the way down to nothing. Then you have these P rated products, P, okay? And I believe that means it's got protection built into it. So historically, their product like P301 is the cut and finish version of M301, you get the idea. And now P601 is the cut and finish, micro cut and finish that one was, and this one's the cut and finish because it's got a bit more cut, of F601. There is no P9, so you don't have a heavy cutting compound with a finish thing in it, because you typically need to finish these out. Some people argue you can just about get away with the gloss levels on these, but you typically need to finish out a heavy cut product. Now that seemed quite simple, doesn't it, on the surface of it? The major difference here is wax versus sealant in these two products. However, Koch Chemie also have a P201, which is, I believe, a cut and finish, which is even finer than the P3. They also have a P101, which is even finer, and a P102. Because that number after that number, when that eventually zooms in, is the version or iteration. So they can have two versions of one product. That gets a bit confusing. So P101 blue and P102 pink, I don't really have much idea what the difference is. Although if you go on Koch website, they have tiny little cut and finish rating differences, but I'd like them to try and compress that and minimise it down. Okay, that's a lot of information to get through, isn't it? Part of the thing the brands need to understand is to make it very easy for people starting out. And Koch are in danger of having too many products down in that P2, P1 area, in my opinion. So they could do with simplifying that. Let's talk about price. P6 costs around about 14 to 15 pounds for 250ml, which is okay. You pay 14, 15 quid for this. You could probably do 2 or 3 cars with it if it's a stretch. Depends how much you use. Depends on the size of the car. But 1,000 millilitres of this, or a litre, is about 47 pounds, 46, 47. That price starts, you know, it gets to the point where I start pausing because it's expensive. You know, and that's what the review has to capture. So these products are a bit pricey. Now, if you go down, I was talking about P102, you can get a litre of that for about 14 quid, which is a fine cut and wax in one, I believe. So why does the mid-range cut and sealant cost about 4 times more than the finer cut and wax? So the price alignment is skewing. Now I think the abrasive companies will say we're using different abrasives in this, more modern forms of abrasive, perhaps higher quality, higher concentrations of abrasive. The sealant might be more expensive, stuff like that. I don't know. It's not my job to say that. My job is to critique it. Right, the next thing, instructions for this product. You need to have instructions on the bottle, I think, for professionals. They won't want to be going to Google instructions. So here's what it says on the bottle. We're doing this kind of in a live format as well. Innovative machine polish for fast creation of high gloss surface, effective removal of scratches, as well as sanding from grit size P2000 with simultaneous sealing effect. Great. Areas of use: paints on passenger cars, commercial vehicles, motorcycles. So paintwork, clear coat primarily. Doesn't say about single stage paint, which is a question. Can it be used for that? Don't know. Recommendations for use: process in cloister by means of high performance eccentric and one cut pad. That's poor English. Process high gloss polish at medium speed and medium pressure. Fine. Could give you some guidelines on time. What they're saying there is you can use it on a DA polisher with their orange one cut pad. You know, work in small areas, you know, work polish until breakdown, stuff like that can be helpful. Shake before use. Before using, check suitability and compatibility. Well, okay. Is it suitable for my car? How do I check that? Not sure. Do not use on hot surfaces. Protect against frost and excessive heat. SDS available on request. All of the SDS stuff for Koch Chemie products are all on their website. And nice and easy to go and download. Right, oh I see. And underneath this sticker is instructions in Russia, French, Polish and no, which must be Norwegian maybe, I don't know. Okay, nothing about how long, if you have to let it dry cure before you buff off to let the sealant set. Once the sealant's on there, do you need to avoid washing your car for any period of time to allow the sealant to fully cure out? Pieces of information like that I always find useful. They're not on there, so I would, because I like to know all these things, I would go searching and the answers aren't on the Koch website as far as I know, so that would end up with an email from me to Koch asking the question. So they can put that information on the bottle and make it a lot easier. Okay, we're going to fire this thing up and use it for the first time. Okay, we're rolling. Let's shake the hell out of this. Let's get the seat down. Wait. This paint does not need polishing. So I've got to really shake it. And of course, if you want to wear ear defenders, wear a mask, wear goggles, wear whatever you want, I'm going in commando. I'm going to do one set, and of course I'm talking to camera, so time is of the essence, and you being able to hear me is of the essence. I've always got an excuse. So I'm going to start off with 4 blobs. Close that back down again. Let's spread this on the panel. We're just going to work that sectional wing, which will be good. Let's make a film. Let's stick with our DA technique. Let's make a film. Turn the machine off. Set it to your correct setting. I'm going to put it at about 5. This, we're using a forced rotation, XCE, because it's got tons of power. I can't stall it, and if I want to cut more, I can lean in and do my stuff and get into the valleys without stalling it out. The valleys of the car, not the valleys in Wales. Don't do humour. Let's get started. Okay, good. Interesting. Yeah, it's not as oily as their normal products. I'm going to bring you in. Hold on. It's good to see this. Really good to see this, isn't it? So I think if I keep working it, I think that's the point to stop. When you can see the product start drying, you want to stop. And you can see there, if I just sort of focus out, see how dry that is? There's a little bit of oiliness to it still, actually. Well, let's give it a buff while the camera's on. So I want you to be able to see this. I'm switching to manual focus. Can you see? There we go. I've got good focus. So let's just buff this. See how easy? That's good. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, that's what I want. So I just want to see, look, I'm just going to pass over it from right to left. Just see how well it comes off. That's brilliant. That's incredible. Really, really good. I mean, buff is so important. This is good stuff. Yeah, that's lovely. I mean, that's phenomenal. So you can see up the top here, I haven't wiped this, but there's a little bit of the product there. Let's just take that off. It's so light. That is phenomenal. And it's not greasy either, which is really important. Yeah, I like it. Now, what are the unknowns? The unknowns for me with a dryer product is when I start doing set after set after set, am I going to get dusting? Well, I need to stop before that happens. Now, just look at this. Let's get the light. The paintwork was good anyway. There was probably the odd swirl in this paint. Let's just get the full light on there. We're in focus. Let's get a good thing. Right, you can see, can't you? Let's try and get in closer. Try and play around with the focus. Right, now we're on focus. What I like is not the finish, okay? What is that, a swirl? I'm seeing a swirl. What am I seeing there? And that's a reflection of the camera. Looks like a swirl. That's not a swirl wherever it was. Or maybe it is. No, it's not a swirl. That is some reflection that looks like a swirl, but it wouldn't matter if it was. I'm looking into the viewfinder and I can see something right there that looks like a swirl. But then if I move the camera, it's a reflection of something, isn't it? Or maybe it's a swirl, I don't know. I can't see it if I look in real life. Anyway, you get the idea. What I'm liking is the fact there's no greasy marks. And something is bugging me. Oh, that is a swirl. That's definitely a swirl. Okay, don't worry. Don't look at it, John. That was a swirl. What I'm liking is the fact that it's a clean finish and there's no grease and it's so easy to buff. So if I'm going around doing this on a car, I want it to be easy to use and I want to be happy with the finish, not the swirls. Forget about the swirls. It's the finish, and I'm really happy with that finish. So I could work with this product pretty quickly. That's it. Right, let's put the camera. I'm going to turn the camera off and come back on the tripod. I'm going to do a couple more sets as well, and then I'll come back. Okay, so I won't film these sets. Okay, guys. So I've done 3 sets in total with this product. The most important thing for me is how it buffs and how it is to work with, because if it's smeary or if it's difficult to buff off the panel or it's dusting all over me, and you've got to work with that and you've got to kind of live with that for every single set, then it's a no-go. This product was excellent, especially the buff. I've noticed on the 3rd set I did on top of the bonnet, if you use more product and work that for longer, then the film feels more like a typical like F6. There is an oiliness to it, but if you use less and get a thin layer, it's really nice and light to buff off the panel. It's not too smeary. You can almost buff it without the light, and as long as you buff everywhere, you probably won't have any smear marks. With the pure abrasives, there's a lot of oil in them, and the other products can be a lot of oil. You have to get the light out, and sometimes you're chasing the greasy marks under heavy light, and I wasn't getting that with this product. So I definitely recommend it. Definitely think you should check it out. Put the comments in there if you've used it, what you think about it. There's certain things we're not testing in this video because it's like a first impression. So how good is the sealant? How long does the sealant last? Can you put a wax on top of the sealant? You're going to ask me all these sort of questions. But, you're obviously going to be able to put a wax on top of it. I think with any sealant, if it doesn't specify, then leave it for 24 hours as a default before you play around with it. I'm not looking really to buy this to top it with another wax, but I'm looking to be able to use it rapidly without fighting against the product. That's what I want, and that's what I get with Koch, and I get with all of the Koch products. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this. Hopefully this initial impressions / review has done the negatives as well. The only negative I would want to pass on, and that's what it should also do, is the price of these products are getting a little bit too tasty. I think abrasive compounds and polishes and stuff, they should really be in the 30 to 40 pounds per litre category. When they start getting north of 40 pounds, it gets very expensive. But I don't want to end this on a sour note. This is a cracking mid-range AOI because of how it is to buff and the look that it's giving you on the car. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I?